Exactly right. All right, let's jump into the PFF preview, Tim. Let's start with our offense against this great Vance Joseph defense. We did the breakdown. Really, what you got is two top five defenses that are going to be playing on Sunday. And I mean, this could arguably be the game of the year right here. Many people, including Coach Gruden, are saying that they feel like this could be a Super Bowl preview, as a matter of fact, which is really, really interesting to think about.
I'm all for anytime the Green Bay Packers and Super Bowl are mentioned in the same sentence. I'll take that.
Absolutely. So when we go into our 11 personnel, boy, do these look good right here, Tim. My goodness gracious. Let's just dive into it. I don't know if you can see that okay or not. Let me try to zoom in just a touch for you guys, and that's about the best I can do. So let's start with the quarterback and the running back for the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love, 89.9, the second highest graded quarterback in the entire National Football League. Josh Jacobs, 85.7, the fourth highest graded running back in all the National Football League. You got to tip your cap to Goody. You draft Jordan Love while you had a first ballot slam dunk, however many was a four-time MVP in Aaron Rodgers, and you go out and you draft Jordan Love, you let him sit for a couple years, and then you just work him right into the system, and now he's considered a top three quarterback. Some say he's got the potential to be the best quarterback in the league. On top of that, you go out and you get Josh Jacobs, and everybody was a little like, oh no, because you're obviously letting our boy Aaron Jones go. Josh Jacobs is now grading out as the fourth best running back in the league. It's just absolutely awesome to see how they put this together. Now, when we look at the offensive line from left to right, you got Rasheed Walker, 66, Aaron Banks, 59, Sean Ryan, 57, Anthony Belton, 41, and Zach Tom, 83. So Walker continues to play decent football. Zach Tom is just a dominant right tackle. You love to see that. Some people believe that Belton is playing better than the 41.2. I don't think he's playing quite that bad, Tim, but there are some that think he's just playing lights out. I don't believe that. When I turn on the tape, I don't see a guy who's just a dominant right guard right now. And again, he's a rookie. It's going to take time.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Clay. I think he's better than a 41.2 grade, but I don't think he's, lights out. Somewhere in the middle of those.
Yeah, because 40, you see 41 and you think, oh my God, he's one of. I mean, they're basically saying there's only three other guards that's worse than him, right? That's what they're saying there. And I do not believe that. However, I definitely don't think he's he's one of these that you go, okay, yeah, he could start on all 32 teams at right guard. Sure. I just don't feel like that for sure. So that's our offensive line. Let's take a look at their defensive line. Nick Bonito, 12.5 sacks on the year. This is a Tuesday player. I know the PFF grades don't really suggest it. He's a 69.7 this year. Last year, a 78.8, 64 before that, 52 before that. So obviously he got better up to last year, taking a slight step back in terms of PFF, but the 12.5 sacks, obviously this dude is getting after the freaking quarterback. He's probably the most important piece, one of the most important pieces of this defense that's arguably the best defense in the league. Maybe them, Seattle, a couple other teams being mentioned, including the Green Bay Packers there in the top five. But you got Bonito, 69, Allen at defensive tackle. Again, this is their nickel formation here, okay? Their nickel set. Zach Allen, a 58.1. Nothing to really write home about there. Franklin Myers with a 58.4. This seems to be the worst year of his career, so he's seems to be struggling right now. And then, of course, on the opposite side, you got Jonathan Cooper. He's been pretty steady throughout his career, 69, 63, 65, 68. And then this year, he's got a 66 PFF grade. So when you look at this defensive line from a PFF standpoint, Tim, I don't look at them and go, oh, yeah, that's a dominant defensive line. But again, PFF isn't everything. This right. Team is a good defense. They're a solid defense for a reason, right? So how do you feel like we match up there in the trenches, man?
Yeah, I think Bonito is that dude over there. So if we have to send help or a chip over there to help Sheed contain that edge rush, I'm all for it. But again, like I kind of said last week against Chicago, man, run this freaking football right at the center of that D-line. Let's pound the rock in the middle. And, look at Allen. Can you click on Allen again? His run grade was like 30-something. Yeah, 34.2 run defensive grade. Oh, my God. Let's get some inside zone going. Let's run the ball in the middle and put some pressure on them and see if we can create off of that.
And when you switch their base 3-4, it doesn't get much better, right? I mean, you basically got Allen, Roach, and Franklin Myers. So Roach is their traditional nose tackle at 54.2. The thing that I would push back on, though, Tim, is, again, they've got the best rush defense in the league. They're literally giving up 3.7 yards per carry, which makes you look at these and go, what's PFF smart? Like, what's going on here? How are you that far off? How are they grading that bad, but yet they're only giving up 3.7 yards per carry? I agree with you. Go out there and try to run right into the teeth of it. See if you can
Yeah.
establish a run, right?
I'd
Why not?
almost feel better trying to run into the teeth of that defense than trying to bounce it off the edge. I mean, you look at their backers and then their corners and safeties. I'd rather count it that the weakest link might be the interior of that D line, and it's not by much.
Yeah, definitely. So Dre Greenlaw is their stack backer here. And I don't know how many snaps he's gotten on the year. Looks like he just came back from injury in week 7. So what's he got? About 240 snaps roughly. Well, 230 snaps, I should say, is what he's got on the year. Now, you guys know Dre Greenlaw is a dominant player when he's healthy. Obviously, he had that happen there in San Francisco. He ended up signing with Denver fresh off the injury, if I remember correctly. So he is a solid backer, obviously, right? And then you got Singleton grading out as the 34th best backer at 68. So you got Greenlaw 82, Singleton 68. This is in their nickel look, right? And the last 3 years he's gotten better, right? 61, 62, 68. But still, you don't look at that guy and go, oh yeah, he's a dominant stack backer. Again, that's what's going to be matching up against Josh Jacobs at 85.7. And then, of course, Luke Musgrave's starting to amp it up a little bit. Although, if we do switch this to a 12 personnel real quick, you'll see Fitzpatrick coming to the fold at the 57.1. And obviously, I don't know what PFF is on right here because Josh Wiley starts over both of them guys, to be honest with you. So, I don't look at their stack back. I look at this defense and I go, what makes them so good? Well, Benito's getting after the quarterback, right? Their strength of schedule, if we were to hop back real quick on the summary, let's see if it shows their strength of schedule real quick. I should have done that first, but I wanted to
They're towards the bottom, right? 28th or 29th, something like that.
Let's see here. I know they've got it listed here somewhere. Strength of schedule. Okay, right in here's where it usually is. Okay, so yeah, they're the 28th toughest schedule. So yeah, they haven't played a very tough schedule at all. The Packers are sitting at 15 right now. So maybe that's why, right? Maybe they played some bad teams. I mean, when you look at who they've played so far, right, and obviously they're racking up the win total, and you can only play the guys on your schedule. I get it, but here it is starting week 1. Win over the Titans. They lost to the Colts. They lost to the Chargers. They beat the Bengals without Burrow. They did beat the Eagles on the road. I mean, you got to tip your cap there. We lost to the Eagles, right? They beat the Jets by 2 points. They beat the Giants by 1 point. They beat the Cowboys by 20 points. We tied the Cowboys, right? On the road in Houston, they did win that game. Houston's got one of the best defenses in the league. The fact that you somehow, some way pulled out a win there on the road is pretty impressive. Raiders 10-7, they won that game. Not a nice win there. The Chiefs have been down all year. They beat them by 3 points. At the Commanders, they squeaked by with a 1-point win. They beat the Raiders by 7 points. So I can see how you look at it and go, yeah, they've got a weak schedule, or they've had a weak schedule, I should say. But at the same time, man, there's a couple of solid teams in there that they beat. Like I said, you get it all the way back to week 5. But if we did a 4-game saturation like the coaches do, here are the teams they beat the last 4 games. They beat the Raiders by 3 points, the Chiefs by 3 points, the Commanders by 1 point, and the Raiders by 7 points. You don't look at any of those wins and go, wow, that was a great win. You just don't.
No, it's true. And again, like going from that, their defense against the run standpoint, if you go to those last 4 games, I mean, what's the biggest rushing threat they face? Kansas City, probably.
Right.
Out of those last 4.
They're probably playing from behind the whole game like they have been, right?
Exactly. So. And if you go back a little further, they beat Philly. I'm sure Philly can run the ball when they want to.
Although their running game is down this year too,
has been kind of bad, especially the last 4-game saturation for them. So yeah, I mean, you never know, but I do know this: it's a Sean Payton coach football team, right? I mean, at the end of the day, these guys are going to be ready to play, and I think the thing that makes them good, at least from a defensive standpoint, and which may be why your eyes kind of don't believe the numbers sometimes, is it seems like everywhere that they might have a weakness or a hole, they have a strength to back it up in another area. I mean, you look at their backers and their secondary, it kind of makes up for a quote unquote weakness in the middle of that D line, and I'm sure, we're going to continue to break this down with corners and backers and safeties, but numbers don't lie, but they can also be deceiving, right? A good football team finds a way to win, and this is going to be a treat on Sunday to see the Packers go up against this top tier defense here.
I love it, dude. We got a Broncos fan in here. We got to hit it. All right. I love it. I love it when we got newcomers that don't watch the channel. So number 2 in run D, right? We just showed you, okay, who have they played against. And listen, I think Denver's a good team. I want to be completely upfront here. We talked about it all week. So it's funny they got a fan coming in here talking. Good luck, bring your lunch. We'll definitely screen grab that one. So listen, you guys may beat it. We say it every week. You may beat us, right? But I bet if we beat you, you don't have enough hair on your ass to jump back in this chat in the post-game show and talk about it. I bet you don't, right? And I love this. This is my favorite. Y'all don't know because y'all don't watch film or games.
Bro, are you new here? Oh, wait, that's right. You are new here.
Oh boy, that's probably my favorite one because we lose subs because we watch so much tape on the show. Absolutely hilarious. So let me just get a couple screen grabs here real quick, Tim, if you'll excuse me. We got those. All right, that's logged. Let's go ahead and store that in here. So again, we'll see you after the game, man. You may be coming in here running a victory lap, or you probably won't show up if the Broncos do somehow, some way lose this ball game. That's
heard it from a fan right here.
Notice how that works, Tim.
Yep.
The ones who come in talking crap, and when they lose the game, we're always in here, win or lose. They just don't seem to show back up, man. Funny how that works. So, yeah. So we got the screen grab. We're good. So looking at the other strengths of their defense, this top, like we said, top 3 defense in the league. Let's move along to their cornerback room. So you got Patrick Surtain Jr., right? The second there, 69.9, having a solid season. You've got Moss on the opposite side of the 61.4. He's grading out as the 58th best corner. And then in the slot, McMillan, Jaquan McMillan out of East Carolina. This dude's playing really good football this year. Throughout his career, 68, 68, 60, 76. He's the 8th highest graded cornerback in the league. Obviously, he's playing slot corner as well. Got a 90.5 pass rush grade, which is inflating that overall defensive grade a touch, right? However, the coverage grade's a 71. The run defense grade's a 73. It's almost like a mirror image of Bull, to be honest with you. That kind of looks like some of Bullard's grades this year. So that's how their cornerback room stacks up. Now at safety, they've got Hufanga, who is a solid safety throughout his career, 63, 72, 70, 57, and this year 75, having his best year according to PFF, former 5th-round pick. Yep. And then the opposite safety is Brandon Jones, a 62.5, who last year he was the 4th highest graded safety in the league. So he's having a down year there, obviously taking a step back, former Texas Longhorn. Now, when you look at our receiving room here, boy, it's looking pretty, Tim. Christian Watson's now the 5th highest graded receiver in the league with an 87.0, been absolutely dominant since he's came back from that ACL, a receiving grade of 89.0. The Bears learned the hard way last week. 4 targets, 4 catches, 2 tutters, I think 80-some yards receiving, if I remember correctly. Jaden Reed made his debut, or not debut, but his return since week 2, first football he's played. And, man, he's off to a great start. Receiving grade on the year, 83.0. Offensive grade of 82.9. Last week, again, you could just see it right off the bat, Tim. When he was in the game, that coverage started to clamp down a little bit. And then when they had to go back on Christian, all of a sudden Jaden Reed's running butt-naked through the trailer park. It's a different offense when Jaden Reed's on the field. I mean, you put him and Christian both out there, my goodness, man. So that's how that stacks up. They still got Dobby listed as the X, although I think Dobbs didn't get a catch last week, if I remember correctly. But still, Dobbs is one of the most consistent receivers we've had in a long time. 68.7 PFF or receiving grade, 66.2 overall offensive PFF grade. So he played 43 snaps last week. Wasn't really showcased in the game much, but obviously out there running the routes on a consistent basis. So it's going to be the Jaden Reed, Christian Watson show if you attack through the air. And let's hope we can establish a run early is kind of how I'm feeling about this, Tim. What do you think about our receivers matching up with their DBs before we move on to the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it. And I think when you look at their safeties in particular, real similar to how we roll. They're not scared to put either one of those guys in the box. They seem pretty interchangeable. But when it comes to the corners, I mean, Patrick Surtain, that's the dude that I got my eyes on. I have a feeling we're going to see him lined up across Scoot more than once on Sunday, and that'll be fun to watch. But at the end of the day, like you said, we got Bird back in the mix, and he's not returning punts or kicks, so that's a good thing. He's able to work himself into this offense, and then it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyways. Don Wick, Tay Wicks, man, that's another guy we didn't really talk about. He was the hero on Turkey Day for us, and a guy that you shouldn't sleep on. So the depth will be on full display here on Sunday. And I think if we make a concerted effort to establish a running game and we put the Broncos in a situation where they have to account for it, it's going to open things up for all these receivers and receiving threats that we have.
Yeah, and I will say this, on the post-game show, we were a little bit baffled that, man, Wicks just came off of that solid game, right? And then he didn't – it was like he when did you see him on the field against Chicago? You didn't see it much, right? Same thing with Matthew Golden. He only played 5 or 6 snaps. It sounded like Wicks was banged up, right? Matt talked about that in his presser. It was like, Dontavion was not feeling 100%, and they tried to work him in here or there. But so that explained why he wasn't more involved, or else he probably would have gotten more touches. That explains how Jaden Reed got showcased maybe a little more than they might have wanted to, although boy did it work out for the Packers. So again, I like the way our passing game matches up here pretty good. The Broncos are a solid defense. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game. They got like the 16th or 17th scoring offense in terms of points per play. So I could see our defense, being able to control their offense, but I can also see their defense being able to control our offense. So it's one of those things that I wouldn't be surprised. Like as we looked at that over under, what would you say, 42.5, Tim? Is that what it was?
Yeah, something like that, 42.5, I think. Yeah.
On the surface, I want to say the under is more appealing, but also it's supposed to be 60 degrees, or I think by the end of the game, it's going to be in the 40s. So it's not going to be bitterly cold or anything. So I could also see it being something where the weather's playing into a little bit higher scoring game if you want to throw that thing around the yard. And the other advantage that Denver has as we get ready to shift gears and jump into their offense against our defenses, they're used to that altitude, right? Yeah. They're conditioned for it. We're not. And their quarterbacks probably understand how the ball carries there when you're throwing the football. Airs will have to make a little bit of adjustment in Jordan Love. But, again, just put enough air under that thing to give you guys a shot to make a play is the main thing. So is there anything else you want to hear between our offense and their defense?
No, I think we hit on it. And I think that's a great point that you made there, Clayton, too. Like the weather's probably not going to be a factor, but altitude is altitude, right? They play out there in the Rockies. We don't. Emmanuel Wilson's familiar. Brandon McManus is familiar, but that's pretty much it. So maybe we're wrong. This could be a 50 or 60 point over under when we see it on Sunday. You never know. They could be slinging that thing around the yard all day long for all we know.
Yeah, definitely. J. Cole in the chat said, no one said the Broncos was a bad team. I can't stand emotional fans. Amen. Amen. The little man syndrome, it comes out in them, don't it, Jay? It does. So, all right, that's going to do it for our PFF preview. Packers offense against the Broncos defense. If you guys are watching this back later, let us know in the comments. How do you feel about how the Packers match up? Are we maybe not giving the Packers enough credit? Are we giving them too much credit? How do you think they're going to match up against the Broncos defense? Again, it's a solid defense, top 3 defense in the league. Something's got to give. We showed you the teams they've beat, especially the last 4 games. Either we're going to come out of this game going, they're legit, and the Packers got a little bit of work to do, or we're going to go, yep, they just haven't played anybody, right? It's going to be really, really interesting to see how this one unfolds. And like Tim said, let us know in the comments what you think about Sean Payton, one of the more decorated coaches in the league. But make sure you hit like, subscribe, and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live in the near future. And everybody in the chat, do us a quick favor. Let's boost that algae. Hit that like button for us. Spin them laces real quick, and we greatly appreciate that. Before we move on here, Tim,